So good afternoon to all of you, and let me welcome you at the Ministry of Information. It's good that we are hostile. Fromayan was saying to me, I believe in the natural air, across is wonderful. So you got 50 years, and perhaps if you were out there. The work is ongoing here, like I said. We basically inherited the dilapidated ministry. We made a promise that we transform whatever we met here. And for the last 1 year plus, that transformation process started over 8 times from central government. So for the first time, they're giving us some money. We've done the bidding process, and renovation work will start. But because that conference room that you opened the office, we didn't want to wait for the general renovation we decided to do it now. So that's the reason why we are out here. One of the things that we're thinking about, Formula said, called the religion, hallelujah. Hallelujah. You're running church? Yeah. The other thing I want to say, be careful with that. Let them see it, fix it well, set it up. When you come, you finish doing your whole press conference, you're busy posting, and you can take one for the car to come for you, just go up there. Somebody will be there to bring salt, you can bring salt, you can bring beer, you can bring stuff. It's all to make the work environment welcoming, so that you see the need to come all of the time and do your work. As we transform the place, it's not just for us who are working here, it's for all of you who are associated with us in some way or the other. We expected to have the Minister of Health also address the press conference today. I haven't seen her. I'm not sure whether she will still come, but it's good that the chairman is here with his team. So when I'm done, he will address you all, and if the Minister of Health comes fine, if she doesn't, she'll come another time. You know, yesterday was National Unification Day. Every time I look across your faces and see how young many of you are, I'm tempted to believe that you have not followed the conflict history of our country. Because if you follow deeply, certainly you will embrace celebrations of days such as National Unification Day, because that is something that is still wanting in our society. There are some who believe that the government can just, by law, constrain all of us to reconcile. It's not possible. You can legislate reconciliation. So most of the things we have to do to be reconciled as a nation rests with us. Are there responsibilities that the government took got? Yes, government has to play some role, but no matter what the government does, if there are two persons among you who are not speaking and who say you are enemies for life, the government action will not change that. It is the two of you who will decide to say, look, we want to make progress. We reconcile our differences, we unite, we see ourselves once more as brothers and sisters, and you move on. So every time we have Unification Day, there's always a reminder as to where we came from as a country and where we are today. Normally we have a formal program. For the first time, due to other engaging schedules, we were not able to have a formal program, but the President spoke to the nation. He acknowledged that we are still faced with profound challenges and division among ourselves, and that we need to work harder to be a completely reconciled nation. Just mere passage of time. They require deliberate efforts on the part of all of us, including you, and conscious decisions by all of us individually to prioritize understanding over suspicion and collaboration over conflict. And he said, in the spirit of unity and renewal, he was pleased, and this is very important, to acknowledge the fact that the crisis that had lingered in the House of Representatives was resolved just on the eve of National Unification Day. A resolution that culminated into the election of Honorable Richard Namekun as the speaker. I'm sure next time we come to the press conference, we'll probably be pointing to a picture up there and say, what the other pictures bring by, what they want to bring up here. I'll probably resolve by yourself. So the president has extended warm congratulations to Mr. Kuhn, or Honorable Kuhn, for his election. But he has also challenged Speaker Kuhn to lead with courage, with inclusiveness, and with humility. He has further encouraged him to reach across the aisle, unify the House of Representatives once more, and ensure that the House focuses squarely on the work for which the Liberian people elected him. In other words, he was saying to Speaker Kuhn, now that you are Speaker, it's not about winners and losers. Everyone is a winner here because something that has undermined the very fabric of our national existence, seeing our lower house being in conflict for over 7 months, now that the result cannot be seen as a victory for anyone, but a victory for the Liberian people. And that he now has an obligation to reach across the aisle and ensure that they come back together as they used to be before and work for the good of the Liberian people. As you may already know, but we love to re-echo these things because it sends very serious messages. The European Union has committed 56 million euro, which is around 62 million US dollars, in direct budget support through a new financing agreement that was just signed between the EU ambassador, Madame Roland Dupuis, and Finance and Development Planning Minister, Augustine Lafon. The government of Liberia believes that this action reaffirms the EU's strong partnership with Liberia. Note that the support is a grant, not a loan. When you get a grant, it means that free money. They give you money, say you don't have to pay us back. If it's a loan, you will pay back most times with interest. So just think about this. 62 million US dollars given to your country free to aid your budgetary process. No country or organization that does not have confidence in the governance structure of a country will take 62 million of their taxpayers' dollars to give it to you free. So it is a grant, not a loan. And so it means that Liberia is not borrowing any money for that purpose, and they will not have to repay anything. There is an additional 7 million euro, which is around 7.7 US dollars, for complementary measures to strengthen public financial management and oversight. Our minister, like I said, signed on behalf of the government, which is in Sadafuan, and Madame Roland Dupuis signed for the EU. The government takes particular note of the EU ambassador's comment that the 56 million that will be channeled through our budgetary system is a demonstration of confidence in the financial management and governance architecture of our country. And that the action reinforces our government's capacity to manage the country's resources effectively and deliver on the country's national development priority. Under the Waka Kuhn leadership, the country has met the eligibility that includes the existence of a credible national development plan. You know we have one we launched in Basel. A robust financial management reform agenda which we have, and a commitment to macroeconomic stability and a transparent budget process. Of course, we run an open budget process. Our budget is transparent. Nobody got to come out in the tapa or the chairman of the Armed Commission why his salary is. You know where to find it. So you can hire a salary. What the Ministry of Information has the budget to operate, you can hire it, you can fund it. So that budgetary process is very transparent, and these are things that can encourage donors to see the need to support your budget process. So that support is a demonstration that we are good on all of these fronts. And of course, the ambassador was clear that the EU The EU's use of direct budgetary support reflects confidence in the government of Liberia's commitment to pursue ambitious reform, promote accountability, and improve financial governance. So once again, the partners of Liberia are trusting our country again. And there's a 360-degree turnaround from what we saw in our most recent history. The government, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our embassy in Accra, has announced the inaugural Liberia Investment Conference, which is scheduled for today and tomorrow in Accra. That conference aims to strengthen and consolidate economic ties between Liberia and Ghana, while at the same time showcasing the array of investment opportunities that are available in Liberia. The conference, which is being held under the theme Unlocking Liberia's Investment Potential for Sustainable Economic Growth, seeks to gather investors, government officials, entrepreneurs, development partners, among others, to explore Liberia's key growth sectors. And they include agriculture, tourism, telecommunication, energy, infrastructures, etc. The initiative supports President Waka and Liberia's rebuilding and development agenda. The two-day event will feature investment-focused panel discussions with prominent government and business leaders, sector-specific presentations, and breakout sections, among others. The participants can expect a Liberia-Ghana trade and culture expo and valuable network, as well as business-to-business matchmaking opportunities. Investors attending the summit will have direct engagement with Liberian government officials, regulatory agencies, and investment promotion authorities. It will provide clear line of communication for understanding the investment policies, tax initiatives, sector-specific opportunity, highlighting the potential for sector critical for job creation, revenue innovation, and infrastructure development. Our own Deputy Minister, Daniel Sando, and the Assistant Minister for Tourism are part of that summit representing the Ministry of Information. And by the way, the Ministry will make a special presentation on the tourism sector of our country. The Central Bank of Liberia has developed an ambitious 5-year strategic plan covering 2025 to 2029. The plan is worth 63.32 million and is currently before partners in the sector. That plan aims to foster financial inclusion, to address instability, and increase public trust in the banking sector. It will serve as a comprehensive roadmap guiding the bank's actions and priorities as they strive to foster macroeconomic stability, promote financial inclusion, and support sustainable development throughout Liberia. The plan has been unveiled by Executive Governor Henry Samoa, and it contains 55 projects, 7 of which have received funding commitments from our donor partners in the sum of $16.01 million, while US $47.3 million stands as the gap amount to complete the project. The plan aligns with the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, which aims to address the needs of the entire macroeconomic system and take Liberia to a digital economy. It will digitize the economy, launch the National Electronic Payment Switch, working along with GSM companies. It has 5 critical pillars to include domestic price stability, regional integration, operational efficiency, financial inclusion, and digital financial services. Yesterday, the President held a high-level inter-ministerial meeting. Ministries present at that meeting were the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Public Works, Transport, Ministry of State, and the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. The meeting was convened by the President in response to a widespread public concern and mounting reports that heavy-duty trucks operated by Chico that are transporting ore from the bombing corridor to the Freeport are creating serious problems. Citizens have expressed serious safety concerns regarding the reckless movement of these trucks, including reported accidents, some resulting to tragic death. But there's something that I'm a witness of because I live Broadway, I'm on the road every night. Sometimes you see more than 50, 60, 70 trucks on that narrow road at the same time, all with very bright light. So the President talked to remind everybody that he had previously directed that no ore is supposed to be transported by road. That was something we inherited because the past regime had a concession with Western Cluster, and they gave them a 3-year period to transport iron ore by road, something that sounds very stupid. Because iron ore is such that when you expose it in the way you do, sometimes you don't see the immediate impact. But all the people who live along that corridor can, in the long term, have very serious medical issues based on the pollution of the environment just by transporting the ore by road. So, facts were established. One, they were not just operating by themselves, they got some permits. But the permit was not set up inclusive, meaning one entity provided them the service to operate. Of course, they are not getting clearance from the Ministry of Mines and Energy to export anything like iron ore from that corridor. So that was another breach and violation. So there were some specific directives issued at the end of that meeting. One, because of public safety concern, and two, just think about it. Right now, they're building the roads on that side, they're paving it. But as you paving the road, the same moment you paving it, so now you put out there today, 2 days later, you have here today, truck 50, 60, 70 of them, driving the same road. So what do you think is happening? As you building the road, it's falling it instantly. Now the part of the places where the road project got yet to reach, they're becoming terrible again because those trucks are heavy, they're taking iron ore, and there are so many. So they cause some very serious problems. So, the President has instructed that whatever permit they have for which those trucks are on the road, that permit should be immediately revoked, and they have been revoked. We're not going to see those trucks in the number they are flying that route with iron ore any longer. In fact, Chico was told to build a jetty. They also built a road for themselves from the concession area to where the jetty is. So what they basically will be doing now is taking the ore from the inside, transporting it using the road that they built, and stockpiling them at that point until the jetty is completed. And then from the jetty, you're able to transport your products from there towards the Freeport for exportation. That is why it's supposed to be. But whatever went wrong, for which they were back on the road with hundreds of trucks, causing death situation, damaging the road, and even taking away lives, was a mystery that we have to address. That has been addressed. So whatever permit they have to use the road is hereby revoked. So these are the comments I had to make, and we've made them. So I'd like to invite Chairman James Fromayan. Ongoing in those strange men, ran the election in this country for years, now playing a different role. So you hear from him in that capacity. The Chairman, you are welcome. Thank you. I think you'll need this before you now. I saw that. the Ministry of Information, Joe and Sue Logan, Commissioner Dobe, Babusier, other members of my team from Armed Commission, distinguished members of the Pope Estate, fellow Liberians at home and abroad. It is both an honor and a duty that I stand before you today to provide critical updates on the activities of the Liberian National Commission on Arms, particularly in relation to the implementation of Executive Order Number 141, issued by His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boakai on February 24, 2025, mandating the registration of all civilian-owned firearms across the Republic. Let me begin by extending sincere gratitude to President Boakai for the confidence reposed in us to steer this vital national institution. I also thank the Honorable Minister of Information and the MICAT team for the opportunity to appear on this national platform to address the Liberian people on a matter of paramount importance to our national security. Background and legislative framework. As many of you are aware, the Liberian National Commission on Arms, formerly known as the Small Arms Commission, was established in 2012 in alignment with Article 24 of the ECOWAS Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons. This convention aims to curb the growing threat posed by the uncontrolled proliferation of illicit small arms and light weapons across the sub-region. At that time, an alarming rise in violence fueled by the wave of armed conflict in the Mano River Union Basin and other parts of the ECOWAS region posed a serious threat to regional peace and security. Liberia is still reeling from the devastating effects of a 14-year civil conflict, largely fueled by the availability of illicit small arms and light weapons, was particularly vulnerable. That chapter in our history remains a sobering reminder of the danger posed by unchecked access to firearms. With strong backing from ECOWAS, the United Nations, and other regional and international partners, the government of Liberia acted decisively to prevent the recurrence of such conflict by establishing mechanisms for arms control. Our commitment to international norms was demonstrated through the signing and ratification of the ECOWAS Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons and the Arms Trade Treaty, ATT. Going beyond symbolic endorsement, Liberia has successfully domesticated these instruments, integrating their principles into our legal framework, most notably through the Arms Commission Act and the Firearms and Ammunition Control Act, originally enacted in 2015 and comprehensively amended in 2022. This legal framework empowered the Commission to regulate the full life cycle of weapons and ammunition, covering importation, manufacturing, trading, possession, usage, and the destruction of obsolete and excess firearms in collaboration with state security institutions. Achievement in managing state-owned arms. I am pleased to report that the Arms Commission, in collaboration with state security agencies, has made measurable progress in the management of state-owned firearms. Key achievements include marking and digital recording of state-owned weapons for easy tracing, routine assessment and inspection of state armories for compliance with stockpile management protocol, specialized training programs for armory managers and technical security personnel, retrieval of seized and obsolete weapons from around the country. These initiatives are
in line with international best practices for physical security and accountability of state-owned arms. The challenge of civilian firearms and the significance of the Executive Order Number 141. Despite this achievement, the unregulated proliferation of civilian held firearms remains a critical challenge. Alarmingly, many of these firearms are acquired through illegal means, and the country lacks an accurate record of how many such weapons are currently in circulation. Against the backdrop of rising security concerns and public demand for self-defense, Executive Order Number 141 is both timely and strategic. It provides an amnesty period that conforms to the lifespan of the executive order for civilians who currently own firearms illegally, offering them a chance to register and legalize those arms through the appropriate procedure. A clear legal pathway to responsible gun ownership, ensuring that firearms in civilian hands are properly documented, tracked, and regulated. Let me stress, this amnesty window expires in February 2026. After this deadline, anyone found in possession of an unregistered firearm will be subject to the full code of the law, including a felony charge of the first degree, punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment. Establishment of a licensing regime. I'm pleased to further inform the public that the commencement of civilian arms registration exercise was preceded by a number of policy decisions stepped by the Commission in collaboration with relevant state security agencies, including the setting up of a technical committee, a team of security experts from the Liberia National Police, the National Security Agency, Liberia Immigration Service, Ministry of Justice, and the Armed Forces of Liberia, pursuant to Section 4.6 of the amended Firearms and Ammunition Control Act of 2015, to vet individuals who apply for possession license. Formulation and adoption of administrative regulation. Regulation number 5, procedures for obtaining possession permit license for civilian firearms, defining the specification of firearms, fees, penalties, as well as other procedures required for civilian possession of firearms in Liberia. Licensing process and eligibility criteria. I'm pleased to also announce that the Arms Commission is fully operational and ready to begin processing applications for civilian firearms licensing. Applicants may visit our head office at Capitol Hill, Executive Mansion Ground, or any of our regional offices in Bong, Lofa, and Bombing counties. Civilian firearms include authorized firearms for civilian possession, specifically a shoulder fire, single or double barrel gun used for game hunting, traditional ceremony, and recreation in a controlled facility. Handgun ranging from 5.6 millimeter to 0.22 inch caliber to 9 millimeter, 0.35 caliber, specified for individuals and institutions granted exemption under the special security need category. Administrative procedures outlining the regulation, the registration process are now available. For clarity here are the minimum eligibility criteria. Applicant must be a Liberian citizen or legal resident 18 years or above, or does not have any criminal record, including domestic violence, or is free of sound mind and not under the care of mental institution. must not be addicted to or a habitual user of controlled substances, must not have a record of intemperate conduct or human rights violations, must undergo and pass a background check by the Liberia National Police and the National Security Agency. Must otherwise be permitted by law to own a firearm. Interested individuals must comply with the following procedure for obtaining a firearm permit or license for civilian possession. Number 1, express intent through a formal communication addressed to the chairperson of the Liberia National Commission on Arms. Number 2, MICAT will acknowledge receipt of the letter of intent by providing the applicant with an application form as well as payment slip to the designated bank account details to deposit non-refundable fee in USD or equivalent in Liberian dollars for license permit and submit proof of payment to obtain official receipt. 3, applicant will complete the application form issued by the Commission and submit all of the requirements attached to the form. Applicant will be forwarded to law enforcement authorities for background check and fingerprinting. Applicant will receive notification of approval or rejection from the Commission. Upon approval, applicant will be forwarded to the LMP Small Arms Control Unit for competent firearm training clearance. Firearm will be marked and recorded for tracing purposes. Number 8, a team from law enforcement authority will conduct assessment of the applicant's firearm storage before license is issued. MICAT will conduct periodic inspection of the firearm management in line with internal SOP. For a complete guide, we encourage all interested individuals to obtain a copy of our frequently asked questions brochure available in print and on the Commission official website. In concluding, I want to thank the press. Thank you for your continual service to democracy by keeping the public informed and engaged. To the listening public, we appreciate your patience, cooperation, and interest in this national process. The successful implementation of Executive Order Number 141 hinges not just on the work of the Commission, but also on your commitment to public safety and the rule of law. To the Honorable Minister of Information and the MICAT team, we say thank you for this platform and your support in amplifying our message. May God bless the work of our hands, and may peace and stability forever reign in Liberia. Thank you all. I have problem for standing for too long, so I don't want to collapse. I will sit and pick up questions. Yeah, obviously. If you don't mind.
We'd like to appreciate the chairman of the Armed Commission. Yesterday, while many of you were boarding, the engine of the government, the Minister of Information, was in the city meeting, and that's why today he was able to promptly provide us an update of what happened yesterday when the President called the meeting. I'd like to also thank my boss for taking up the time, to provide this information. At this juncture, I'd like to call on my principal deputy, Priscilla, who will moderate. I have 3 questions for the minister.
Do you have any questions? You. Please introduce yourself and the institution you represent.
Well, thank you, Ezekiel Johnson, representing the Area Radio 109 MHz. My question has to do with the heavy-duty trucks that will be plying the street. How soon will that take effect? And the second question goes to Honorable James Fromayan. He talks about firearm registration. Talks about a recognized firearm. Now, if I having the chance to be carrying a firearm, can I make myself available by doing the registration now, or will there be a set date for that process? Thank you.
I'm various impact that you over things. My question goes to Commissioner James. And the various impact that we do for DMS Liberia. What impact is expected on the reduction of firearm crimes following the implementation of the order? And secondly, have there been plans